The robotic dogs that were in Black Mirror. When does quitting count as resistance and when is it surrender?
First reaction, these are the tall glasses.
It's one thing to want to measure yourself. Okay, I'm thinking about two things right now, and both of these things happened a while ago, but I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, so we're gonna talk about it. The first one, an influencer that I still watch her videos and listen to her podcast, she went on a sabbatical in the fall. She moved and she decided to take a sabbatical from her podcast, and I think she was still posting on social media, but she took a sabbatical and she came back and made an episode about it and suggested that everybody should go take a sabbatical because it was so rejuvenating, motivating. She was able to connect and all of that. And I am still thinking about that because I'm like, you know, if everybody could take a sabbatical, they would. But some people don't even have PTO, and how are we supposed to take sabbaticals? And I'm just thinking about the way that influencers relate to the economy and work and job, and how they are telling people who work more traditional jobs to follow their steps. And this goes with like self-help too, like time managing, like how to relate to your job and stuff like that. There are parts of work that are so out of our control, like being able to take sabbatical or be able to have 2-hour no contact blocks and stuff like that. And so that just got me thinking about that. And the second thing that I wanted to bring up was how at the NBA All-Star Game, these are two completely different media types, but at the NBA All-Star Game, it was LeBron James who walked out, and in front of him was one of those robotic dogs. The robotic dogs that were in Black Mirror, the robotic dogs that are being used for military and surveillance and other repressive forms of acting out ideologies of the state. But that really stuck with me because I was like, it's the NBA All-Star Game. People are just coming together to play some basketball. Other basketball members aren't even at these games, they're on break. And there is this robotic dog, and I was like, why would it be there? Why would it be there? And I can only come back to how this is just normalizing it for us. It is normalizing that we see these robotic dogs, and this is how we normalize a practice, normalize a way of being, normalize integration, and we integrate all of these different methods into our society. Those are the two things that I am thinking about months after it happened. It's so pretty, honey.
That's just the only reason.
Last night we had a few of our friends over and we had an entire spread for dinner. We love doing this where on a weeknight we invite our friends over. We do like a main, side, dessert, sometimes an appetizer. And so last night our dinner was banh mi, Korean potato salad, and matcha cupcakes, and then we also had a drink. And it was very nice to have our friends over and just chat and eat. I think that's such a good way to be able to spend time with friends, catch up with friends, just hang out, and then also do something on a weeknight that isn't too intensive. So that was a lot of fun, but it is now the next day and I need to log on for work. All I want to do today is finish reading The Circle and grade midterms and think of other videos to make and outline all those, but I have to go to my 9-to-5 job.
Yesterday, because I went to an event last night, so we're having pancakes tonight. I love breakfast for dinner, and Matt doesn't like it, but he is humoring me for being.
Okay, I was scrolling on LinkedIn and this popped up and they just put into words exactly what I have been thinking with like platform hopping and what to do like consumption wise when it comes to advocacy. So when does quitting count as resistance and when is it surrender? I thought about this a lot with platform hopping and like leaving Twitter and leaving Facebook and everything, because that's exactly what they wanted us to do. They wanted to take over these digital spaces so they can control narrative, they can control our ways of being, our ways of gathering, our ways of sharing information, getting access to information. And if we just jump ship, is it surrendering? Are we giving them exactly what they want? So I think about all the time about Carly Gomez's piece where she says, when all we have left is consumption, what we consume reflects our morals. So when is it okay to jump ship? No, it's so pretty.
First reaction, these are the tall glasses. Oh, really, really strong curtain glass. This is, oh my god, this is literally the perfect glass.
She's talking about Pickle where you can rent clothing. And I know renting clothing is a thing, like Nuuly is a thing. There's another one that like my friends have used too and other influencers have used. But what I find fascinating about Pickle is that it's a monetized version of borrowing your friend's clothes. I don't know, I feel like there is something here, but it's the morning, so maybe I'll come back to this thought. Because it was a space where they could gather and have a different outcome about it. And we weren't really looking for a target audience.
This must be the infrastructure seen here in Data and Society. I'm so excited to be your host today.
They just, maybe go to ChatGPT and ask it, hey, what did MIT look like?
Where are you going? Outside? Yeah, you're not going outside. Yeah. Are you just so sad you can't go outside? Yeah, I'm sorry. But you can't go outside. You're not an outside cat. Yeah, and you won't stay in my arms. Yeah. I have one more meeting to round out the day, and it's with one of my interns so we can figure out the best audio practices for recording the podcast. And it is so dark in here. It's going to rain. And I'm getting dinner with one of my girlfriends after this, and of course the one time I am leaving the house it's gonna rain. But yeah, my intern is here. What are you doing over there? Are we hiding from the storm?
It was never one size fits all for me. I've always had a really hard time concentrating or being like talked at. It's always been.
We're waiting out the storm for dinner, and I am so close to finishing this book, so I might just sit and read for a little bit before I head out. We are at the art studio downtown because there's a sip and spin where we get some beverages and we get to do kind of like entry-level pottery. I've never done pottery before, but I'm really excited. I'm hoping that this is like a really easy entry into pottery. And I'm doing it with two of my girlfriends, so this is gonna be really fun. Where are the fish mugs?
Oh, this one's really cool.
If it's not dead center, then push it to center and then tap it down to really a thick stick. So your fingernail should be to the sky at 3 o'clock and you're pushing in on that gap and sealing it down.
I am
Now,
not good at
a lot of people will turn their finger kind of towards the clay ball, and that will help.
I just finished reading The Circle, and I highly recommend it. It is an infuriating read. The narrator is really annoying, and you just want to shake her and be like, what are you not getting about what people are telling you? But May is hired to work for The Circle, the world's most powerful internet company. And what I think this book does really well is it uses the language of techno-determinism. It uses the language of these tech CEOs, these tech bros, and it's just, I was cringing while I was reading it because I was like, ooh, that like is so icky, and has so many conversations to really capture that techno-deterministic language, the language used by corporate when talking about these tech products and these surveillance products. And it was fun to read a critique of tech and the role of tech in society through a fiction book. Most of the material that I engage with this field is nonfiction. They're studies, they're nonfiction books, they're academic reads, but this was probably one of my first fiction books in dealing with this. I've watched movies and stuff, but it was fun reading it. And again, the main character is just so annoying, but I think that really drives in the point of how icky and just awful this world is. This is one of the examples of techno-deterministic language. If you reject humanity, if you reject all the tools available to you, all the help available to you, then bad things will happen. You reject the technology that prevents cars from going off cliffs, and you'll go over a cliff physically. You reject the help and love of the world's compassionate billions, and you go over a cliff emotionally. And then they go into quantification. So one of the characters says, it's one thing to want to measure yourself, you and your bracelets. I can accept you and yours tracking your own movements, recording everything you do, collecting data on yourself in the interest of, well, whatever it is you're trying to do. But it's not enough, is it? You don't want just your data, you need mine. You're not complete without it. It's a sickness. The use of dialogue is so good, and like really, it makes me cringe when I read it because it just really gets at the techno-deterministic language of tech, and you should read it.